It's a great honor to be the first speaker at the very first Bitcoin Fest. The next 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about the community side of Bitcoin, the social scene that has grown up since Bitcoin's inception 15 years ago and has really accelerated a lot in the last couple of years or so. The first thing, like if you take nothing away really from this talk except for this, this is by American Bitcoiner Matt Odell. He said, it's the community that makes Bitcoin real. Without it, Bitcoin is just code. So I think that's a very important thing to remember as we talk about the rest of this now. So a little bit about me first. I came across Bitcoin in 2013. And I was kind of very quiet and didn't really do a lot and just stayed at home and hodled Bitcoin, I suppose, for a long time. I'll explain a little bit more about that afterwards. I'm also the founder of Bitcoin Events UK, which is what we're talking about here today. I'm the co-founder of Bridge to Bitcoin, along with James and Chris, and I will touch a little bit on that in this talk. Laserized cards as well. We'll have some laserized cards here today. That's a bit of a fun spin on the bulk card, the payment cards. And I'm the founder of the Northampton Bitcoin Network, which is a monthly meetup in Northamptonshire. And it's kind of what started the whole thing for me. But before we go into all that, just a little bit of a brief history of the meetup scene in the UK. The earliest sort of social thing I think that I've been able to find in the UK is something that's mentioned. It's still up there on the Bitcoin Talk forums. You can find a reference there. There was I don't know if there was anybody here that was in the room. Maybe Ben Art might have been there. I'm not sure. Some of the OGs might have been there in 2012. That was a conference though. What we're primarily talking about here today is the monthly meetups, which there are a number of now all over the UK. CoinScrum, as mentioned in Dominic Frisby's book, I don't know if anybody's read that, the Bitcoin, the Future of Money. It was the first Bitcoin book actually that came out, and in that he talks about going to a monthly meetup in London where people would just kind of meet on a street corner and they would buy and sell Bitcoin from each other and chat about Bitcoin. And I think that was the earliest organized meetup in the UK that we can find reference to. And then there was other ones would then pop up around the country. Newcastle was an early one in 2015, and Bitcoinology. That started, that was called Bit Friendly actually originally, and that's in London. Now that's still going now. And then there was a few others that popped up before 2022. We can see some of them there: Bristol, Manchester, Belfast, Cardiff, and so. And then in 2022, in April 2022. That was when I first got the idea about starting Bitcoin events. Now that really came because I started the Northants Bitcoin Network, which is the, as you can imagine, the Northamptonshire meetup. I started that up after watching the Miami conference in 2022 in America. There was a lot of talk then of meetups and the social scene, and in America there are much more. It's been, it's a built up over quite a number of years there, and it's quite big compared to it is here. The meetups will get anything from 50 to 100 people every month at some of the different regional meetups, and I thought we were miles behind here and we should probably start trying to increase the meetups here and try and really grow the scene here in the UK. So I started the Northampton meetup, and I wanted somewhere to list the meetup I thought there must be some sort of website where I could list the meetup and get it out to the world and let everybody else in the UK know that there's a meetup in Northampton. There wasn't one that I could find at all, so I thought, well, I better start one myself. So I launched the bitcoinevents.uk, and tomorrow will actually be exactly 2 years since it started. So I launched the site. I listed all of the meetups that were currently in existence, and there was about 10 of them. As you can see on that previous slide, there was around about 10 meetups. I listed all those, contacted the meetup organisers, and put all the information on that website. It was kind of reported at the right time, really, coming out of COVID. There was a lot of people, I think, that wanted to actually get out and, after being locked down for so long, and wanted to meet people in real life and find some other fellow Bitcoiners. So what is bitcoinevents.uk? Well, it's a website primarily, and it lists all the meetups. Simple job that it does there, but behind the scenes as well, we have a calendar now that's there's recently had some changes on the site. It's a lot more prominent now, the calendar, so you can see actually the next meetup that is coming up that day, that week, and you can click through and see all the upcoming events and monthly meetups. We act as a hub as well. We have quite importantly, we have a Telegram group that in that Telegram group, every single one of the meetup organisers from all over the UK and Ireland are in that Telegram group, and we can all communicate. It's a bit of sort of connective tissue that we can use to we can share speakers for that might attend one meetup and then say, I'll go and do that talk in Bristol, I'll go and do that talk in Edinburgh. We can share tips and on best ways to organise the meetups, different types of venues that we can use. And it's proved to be a very important and useful tool. We help and encourage new meetups. I've been lucky enough to be invited on a few podcasts, and people have come to me afterwards and asked about starting a meetup themselves. They might find that it's an hour and a half maybe drive to their closest meetup, so they figure, rightly so, that maybe they should start their own meetup. That's something I would encourage anybody here today that's not that's a long way from a meetup. If you'd like to start your own meetup, come and have a chat with me today. It's a lot simpler than you think. It doesn't have to be something as elaborate as today. Just can be basically that they start off mostly with 4 or 5 guys in the pub meeting once a month. It's as easy as just inviting your friends for a drink in the pub, and it can grow from there. And once you get together with a few other people, things become easier. You can share the workload between you and the other fellow members. So a little overview of the UK and where it was in April 2022 when I started it. Like I said, I found all the existing meetups that there were in the UK, and there was 10 of them. You can see they were spread around there. But now in April 2024, 2 years later, we've got all these meetups now. So there's 56 active meetups there. There are a few which have gone dormant. A couple, Brixton, for instance, was one. Buckinghamshire, they sort of they stopped doing regular meetups, so they've sort of come off the map. But there's recently been, I think we've had 5, 6, 7 new meetups just this year alone, actually. A couple in Scotland, and I think one extra one was added to Ireland. So there's a good spread there. You can see over in the in Hull, maybe around that area. If anybody's from that area, there's a big gap in the map there, which would be good to fill. Probably some in North Wales would be nice as well. But there's a good spread across the country. So you can see if you've never been to a meetup, now is the time. You can head to the website, and there's an interactive version of this map. You can zoom in and try and find your close meetup. So what happens at a meetup can be anything that you choose, and they, like I said, most of them, 90% probably are just meetups in the pub, because we're still in that growing sort of stage of the meetup scene. As they get to a certain size, over 10, I'd say, people that are regularly coming to the meetup. Some of the meetup organisers choose to then start doing talks and that sort of stuff. My meetup actually in Northamptonshire is a great example of the sort of pop-up marketplace. We had our monthly meetup on Tuesday, and we've got a new venue actually. It's quite a lot of space, and we were able to set up like a mini market. We've got some members of our meetup that sell different things for sats. We've got jam that was on sale. I sell books as well, which I've got some books actually here in the Bitcoiners Lounge out at the back. We had hats, I think, and we had laserized cards as well. So we had all sorts of things. We even someone was selling Bitcoin itself. So we have had quite a little pop-up market going, which is another great use for the meetups as well. It's like a little circular economy. Talks and presentations. Doesn't always have to be that way. People just generally want to talk and discuss Bitcoin, but having somebody come and actually focus everybody on and education obviously is a big part of it. So talks and presentations. Workshops is a good one as well. Building nodes, building node miners, building all sorts of different things is a good one. And there are a growing number of Bitcoin walks as well. There's the original and famous one in Edinburgh, and that's a weekly meetup. They walk around a place called Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh every week and just talk Bitcoin. It's a great social thing and keeps everybody fit. So yeah, as I touched on, there's different reasons for the meetups. Education being the primary one, to help share knowledge about everything you can imagine about Bitcoin. Networking as well. From meeting at my very first meetup, I met James and Chris, and from that we started Bridge to Bitcoin and all the other projects that we do, which are many and take up a lot of time now of ours, which is great. But it all came from that first meetup and meeting other Bitcoiners. So you can see a few photos there from some of the meetups. Bitcoin Surrey there in the bottom is a bit hard to see. But the numbers have been increasing in the last few months, with the price going up is increasing the attendance of the meetups. So a little bit about the importance of meetups with the merchant adoption. So as I mentioned, Chris, James and I started Bridge to Bitcoin after we met at the meetup. And that sort of came from a bit of a revelation about how meetups and merchant adoption can work so well together. Historically, in the past, businesses didn't necessarily get a lot of customers coming and wanting to spend Bitcoin. And there's a good example of it. There's a bookshop not too far away from where I live. He was accepting Bitcoin for 6-7 years, I think. And I went in to see him one day, and he said nobody ever had come in to the bookshop to spend Bitcoin before. And all he'd done was put a sticker in the window saying he accepted Bitcoin. So the chances of somebody walking past and wanting to spend Bitcoin was pretty remote. Nobody had ever come past. But the revelation really with meetups and merchant adoption was that if your local butchers or bakers or bookshop, for instance, accept Bitcoin and there is a local meetup near to you, you can direct those. The meetup organizer can direct the people from the meetup to that business and provide a constant stream of sats to that business, which historically wasn't happening before. So and there's even cases now where, for instance, there's a pub. There's two pubs actually quite close to each other. The Stonehenge Inn and what's the other one called? The Penruddock Arms. That's in Stonehenge, around Stonehenge, and the meetup there. There's a local Bitcoiner has started a meetup purely because there's two pubs there that are accepting Bitcoin. So that those businesses now will receive Bitcoin monthly from those meetups, where there's it'd be a group of, whether it's 10, 20 people will come in to that business, and that will be new business that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So this is now the benefit that we have with the connective tissue all over the UK. If with Bridge to Bitcoin as well, for instance, down in Brighton, there was a restaurant that opened up. So we were able to say to the meetup organizer down in Brighton, there's a new restaurant now accepting Bitcoin. He can make all the members of his meetup aware of this new business and send all the members of that meetup to that business. So it's a big advantage now that we have that we didn't have in the past, just to have that connective tissue over the whole country. So some of the ways that we can help, I'll whiz through these quick. There's lots of things that we can do through Bitcoin events and the team there. Give you some advice, obviously, on setting up first a Telegram group. A lot of Telegram seems to have become kind of very important to the Bitcoins. A lot of people are using the messaging app Telegram to set up groups. It's very good for organizing groups and setting up groups for your meetup. We can do logo creation, so we've designed a few of those logos. You can see on there, handful of those. There's a couple of us that can do that. We have obviously we then invite the organizer into the Telegram group where all the meetup organizers are, and there's a couple of other things that we have for promoting the meetups. There's a public Telegram channel which you can, if you come and see me later, I can give you the QR code to join that. There's a constant stream of information on there of the new meetups as and when they start. A lot of you maybe here are already in that. We promote the accounts through the Bitcoin Events UK Twitter account. We'll always promote and retweet the information about the meetups each month. So just the last little bit now is about the future of meetups. Obviously, where are they going to go in the future? The internet, believe it or not, there was meetups. People would get together in pubs and discuss the internet a long time ago, and how revolutionary that the internet was going to be and how it was going to change the world. They don't really exist so much anymore. Seems a bit silly to get together and discuss the internet now in a pub. So is Bitcoin going to go the same way? Are Bitcoin meetups going to disappear? I don't think they will. I think what we'll find is what we're seeing the beginnings of now is Bitcoin hubs, which are beginning to appear. Some examples of those is Rail Bedford, perhaps is kind of an early example of a Bitcoin hub. Is a place where you can just turn up and there's going to be Bitcoiners there. I think Peter McCormack's talking about having co-working spaces and things in the future, perhaps. Satoshi's Place in Bury was another example of that. That's actually closed down at the moment, and they're going to relaunch it. I think in the centre of Manchester, which was be good if they do. But there's some others. I think probably planned in the future, and as Bitcoiners get more wealthy, they may decide to open a pub or a cafe, and for it to be a sort of an educational center where Bitcoiners can go, kind of like a Bitcoin embassy, if you like. If you're a tourist and or you're visiting the city from far away, you could turn up and maybe head to that place first, and then you'll know where all the other Bitcoiners are and network in that town or city with some like-minded fellow Bitcoiners. A project which is doing just that is planb.network. If you go to that website, planb.network, there's Giacomo Zucco, Bitcoiner, is spearheading that project. And they are kind of, I think they say, centralizing in order to decentralize. They're putting lots of educational material and things together, which can then be replicated all over the world. And it's a global project, this one. They'll be able to, it's kind of like a franchise, I suppose. If you wanted to open your own Plan B network hub, you'd be able to take all their materials and use that to start your own. So that is basically it at the moment. There's a QR code there which will take you straight to the website to have a look and find out where your local meetup is. If there's anybody here that hasn't been to a monthly meetup before, that's a great resource to click. Come and have a chat with me later, especially if you think that it's a long way to your local meetup and you would like to start your own. I can give you a hand and a guiding hand to starting your own. So that's it, basically. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Simon. Do we have any questions for Simon? We've got a minute or two for any Q&As. If we don't, I have a question for you, Simon. Mainly directed at our people who are watching on the stream, because if you are interested and you're here with what Simon's saying, you can come and speak to him in person. But for those who are watching either the recording or the live stream, how can they get in contact with you, Simon?
Well, on Twitter is probably the best way, I guess, that everybody can do. That's it's at Hodl Solo, or through Bitcoin Events UK. There's the bigger account is the Bitcoin Events UK account on Twitter. So contact me that way. I think that's the easiest way.
Cheers, Simon. Thank you very much.
Great. Cheers.
Cheers, Simon.